What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Elune here, and of course, welcome back to each and every one of you. We're asking an interesting question. The dragon aspects. Well, actually, we're asking multiple questions. Question number one. How exactly were they created? Is it what we've always been led to believe, or is there something more juicy going on? I think there's something more juicy going on, and we're going to be talking about that. How exactly did they lose their power? Is it what we've always been led to believe, or is there something more juicy going on? I think there's something more juicy going on. And then, of course, why or how are they going to get their power back? Is it what we all think, or is there something more juicy? I think you know the answer to that. If you want to find out if this is stuff that you like, remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if by the end of the video you think, Elune, you convinced me, you let me know in the comment section down below. If you've already hit the like button, I love you. You can support this channel by becoming a Twitch sub, a YouTube member, or a patron. Any and all support is always very much appreciated, but above all else, even if you don't want to do any of that, just hit the like button, it's free, and it does help out. Let's get into it, shall we? Question number one. How exactly were the aspects created? Well, we know. The lore of the dragons is actually well documented. The dragon aspects were once proto-drakes, just normal dragons, that helped take down Galakrond, and because of their bravery and also their heightened intelligence, this is literally according to the lore, they were blessed by the power of the Titans, each by a different Titan that would give them power over Azeroth to some extent, but more importantly, the power of Azeroth in order to defend and protect her. This is at least what we've been told. But the origins of the dragon aspects is by itself a lie. At least the version that the dragon aspects are telling everyone. Right after the dragon aspects were turned into the dragon aspects, they were told by the keepers that the story they need to tell everyone is that Galakrond gave them the power to become the dragon aspect. So it was the defeat of Galakrond that transferred this power into them, and now they're big and strong. The truth, however, at least in the versions that we are told, is that the Titans were the ones who blessed them, but they were not allowed to tell anyone that this blessing was a gift due to the fact that they defeated Galakrond. What exactly is the purpose of the lie? Lies always have a purpose. There is always a person or group of persons that you wish to lie to because them finding out the truth would be problematic or catastrophic or whatever. But in this instance, neither one of those I can see as particularly problematic. The Titans granting the gift of magic to the dragon aspects makes no difference. I mean, the Titans did a whole lot of stuff on Azeroth. The keepers of the Titans were blessed with portions of their power. This is known, this is well known, no one argues about it. Why would this be a problem? What if the lie was actually meant for the Titans? So in other words, what if the truth was so bad that not even the Titans were allowed to know the truth? In other words, the keepers could very easily say, hey, we gave portions of our power to the dragon aspects, considering the fact that we have portions of your power. You know, this would make sense. So who exactly created the dragon aspects? This is where we get into speculation, and everyone is going to have their own opinion on it. And I understand that. I love reading those opinions, by the way, in the comment section down below. It helps the channel. Keligos gives us the first clue. After the fall of Malygos, the blue Dragonflight is decimated. And when I say decimated, I do mean decimated. The blue dragons is basically no more at this point. You see, after the betrayal, that Deathwing at least viewed as betrayal, where Malygos and the blue Dragonflight attacked Deathwing, trying to stop him from subjugating and enslaving all of Azeroth, Deathwing uses the Demon Soul, at that point called the Dragon Soul, to effectively kill almost all of the blue dragons. This is also the event that ultimately leads to Malygos going crazy and losing his mind, which led to us taking him down in Wrath of the Lich King. When Malygos dies, the blue dragons have no aspect. The aspects have no blue dragonflight, and therefore Caligos' name is put forward as the successor. A whole ritual is put in place for Caligos to ultimately become the next aspect of the blue dragonflight, but the main ingredient here is the blessing of Elune. The entire ritual will be observed by Elune, and if Elune finds him worthy, she shall bless him, and this will turn him into the blue dragon aspect. Why? During the origins of the dragons and the dragon aspects, there is no mention of Elune. The two versions we have, the one guaranteed lie and the other maybe lie, has no mention of Elune. In the one, the dragon aspects killed Galakrond, and the magic that transferred to them made them aspects. In the other, it was the titans that poured their power into the dragons, and this made them aspects. Elune is nowhere to be found in that equation. Yet, for Caligos to become the blue dragon aspect, Elune's blessing is required. Well, what if all of the dragon aspects were created by Elune? What if that's the very reason for the lie? The lie even told to the aspects. Well, this brings a whole new level of who the hell is she to Elune. Elune is, by and large, an incredibly mysterious character in World of Warcraft. For a long time, we believed that Elune was part of the life cosmological force. The Grimoire of the Shadowlands sort of hints at the fact that Elune is almost definitely part of the life cosmological force. The Winter Queen, part of the death cosmological force, refers to Elune as her sister. We know that Elune spent at least some time in the Shadowlands at some point, because the Winter Queen tells us that Elune abandoned her. When the Winter Queen is asked to save Ysera, her words is problematic, to say the least.
Is of my sister. Why have you brought it to me?
This one is slipping away.
Our duty is grim. Many have been lost. Why would I save her pet?
What if that line, "This is of my sister," isn't just meant for Ysera? What if all the aspects is of her sister? What if it doesn't matter which aspect lies there? Whether it was Alexstrasza, Caligos, even Deathwing. What if none of that matters? What if to the Winter Queen all of these aspects are of her sister? The Winter Queen seems almost a little offended by the fact that we bring Ysera's egg to her. She does in the end save Ysera, but then goes further and ties Ysera to her realm. Maybe this was necessary because the realm really had suffered great losses, but it might also be just a little bit of a deviancy thing where you're like, oh, this is of my sister, I'll tie her here. She's not going back. Whatever the case may be. We have some videos about that actually makes it very, very interesting. The questions around Elune now becomes problematic, to say the least. If Elune has the ability to create dragonflights, each blessed with powers that is spread across multiple titans, the question almost definitely has to be, what exactly does Elune have power to? And I think I have an explanation for it. We know that Elune is tied to Azeroth. There are theories that I've done myself and based very much on the relevancy of the lore that Azeroth might be the seventh power. The seventh power is rumored to be a collection of the six. In other words, fractals of the six. This would mean that all of those powers, the powers that all of the titans harness, is in Azeroth. Now, you could very easily also say, what if Azeroth was the one that blessed the dragon aspects with their power? But in this, I would say it's far more likely that Elune found an ultimate power source. This is why Elune's moon is tied to Azeroth. This is why Elune calls the Night Elves her most beloved people. She loves them more than any other people in the Great Beyond. Even though Elune is worshipped throughout the Great Beyond, it is the Night Elves that she loves more than any other. What if the power of Azeroth is the thing that turns Elune into the upstart goddess that Xal'atath was referring to? This is how Elune was able to bless them. This makes sense why the Titan Keepers would want to keep this secret. Because technically speaking, Elune is not supposed to have this kind of power. If she is an Eternal One, she should be like all of the other Eternal Ones. In other words, very limited scope in terms of powers. If she is from the cosmological force of life, she should have power over life, but not over everything else. So, technically speaking, she should be able to create Alexstrasza and maybe Ysera, but that should be the end of it. I don't know what the answer is. Elune is still a very tough nut to crack. Very tough. But it's always interesting to think about. I'm sure you have your own theories, so let me know in the comment section down below. On to our second question. I did say there are multiple questions that we will need to answer. How did they lose their power? Well, again, we have lore. We have actual evidence of this. They funneled all of their power into the new but also very old Demon Soul, or Dragon Soul as it is known. Originally became the Demon Soul eventually, but never mind. Let's just call it the Dragon Soul to be sort of not pedantic. They transferred their power into this Dragon Soul. The Dragon Soul was then used to kill Neltharion or Deathwing, and that means their power is no more. But that makes no sense. At least not when I look at the cinematics. And also not if I look at the history. When the Dragon Aspects first poured all of their power into the Demon Soul, the Dragon Soul, it left them weakened, but by no means did it completely drain them. In fact, it left them weakened enough to the point where Deathwing could subjugate them, but not kill them. It didn't remove their powers as aspects. It just sort of made Neltharion a little bit stronger. Because the power of the Demon Soul would flow into him, so all of their power would flow into him. He'd be a strong boy. This time around, we see basically the exact same thing. They're lined up around the platform, they channel their power into the Demon Soul, the Demon Soul is used twice, and Deathwing is ultimately defeated. It isn't until the end of Deathwing's defeat, it isn't until Deathwing lies dead, that the Dragon Aspects finally lose their power. And Alexstrasza famously states,
"Champions who fought at our side assured the survival of our world. But now, we must see it with mortal eyes. We Dragon Aspects have fulfilled our great purpose, and our ancient power is expended."
This is the moment we see the power sort of fade from her eyes. As she is now, obviously. Well, they're not mortal, just to be clear. They're still dragons. They're still kind of eternal ones. Well, eternal ones insofar as they don't seem to have the ability to die of old age. But according to them, they have no more power as aspects. Yet, throughout the history of World of Warcraft, we see multiple times the Dragon Aspects doing Dragon Aspect things. Think back to the Emerald Dream. The Green Dragons are still very much active within the Emerald Dream, doing things like green dragony things inside the Emerald Dream. What if their power became unstable? What if that is why they effectively became normal? Gave up their status as aspect. What if it had nothing to do with the funneling of the power into the Dragon Soul, but rather the death of Deathwing. We know that our entire universe is built upon the premise of balance. Every cosmological force serves as a balancing act against every other cosmological force. Steve Denuser tells us this in an interview that he did, I believe, last year, where he states that sometimes, occasionally, the cosmological forces will team up. They'll form alliances to beat down cosmological forces that have become maybe a teeny tiny bit too strong. But ultimately, these forces are not allies of one another. They serve as balancing acts. It kind of makes sense that the dragon aspect would be the same, considering the entirety of the universe rests on this premise of balance. What if the dragon aspect's power lies within all of the aspects? So the same way that an individual flight's power rests within its aspect, what if the aspect's power rests within the other aspects? So when Deathwing died, the power of the aspects became unstable, unpredictable. They could no longer truly be the aspects, because one of them were missing. Sort of hinkering towards the Elune theory a bit there, because we know that Elune's power, if left unchecked, becomes quite unstable. Elune's power is almost necessary in absolute balance, otherwise problematic, to say the very least. This would also explain why the Red Dragon aspect tried so very hard to cleanse the Black Dragon broods. Remember Rathian? Rathian is no mere Black Dragon. I do have a theory about Rathian as well, but that's way too long for this video and also a little bit out of the scope of this video. But Rathian is the result of a clutch of Black Dragon eggs that were corrupted, that the Red Dragonflight, Alexstrasza and her dragons, tried to cleanse. Rathian is the only one that survived this. Why? Why try to cleanse eggs of your brother that fell? You know how dangerous these Black Dragons can be. You know their absolute weakness to Old God corruption, and yet you try to save them. What if they try to save them? Because without a new Black Dragon aspect, the aspects can never be a game. Their power will always flow outward. So think of it as a chain that is built around a font of power. All of the links in the chain draw power from this font, but with the chain now broken, with a gap being formed there, the power escapes out. So the font, while still strong and constantly pushing power into it, most of it escapes through this broken chain that is now there. And they need that chain to close again so that the aspects can be reborn. The question is, why? For what reason do we need dragon aspects? They said that the time of the aspects are done. It is now time for mortals to take over. And before people go, but Acheron, didn't Thrall become the Earthwarder? Yes, but mainly ceremonial. Thrall never absorbed the power of Deathwing. He never actually became an aspect. He was just, as a shaman and the mightiest of all shamans, placed in charge of the duties of Nalfarian, so to speak. But never was he given the power of Nalfarian. This is purely a dragon thing, and last time I checked, Thrall isn't a dragon. Unless, of course, things have changed considerably since I last checked, which is about 20 minutes ago, so I don't think so. But anyways, why now? What can possibly be happening? That is the question I'm going to leave for you, because I haven't figured it out yet. I'm still trying to wonder why now is the time for them to grab the power. Plus, this video is way too long already. I didn't plan on it being this long. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Why do you think the dragon aspects want to come back? When in reality, they themselves said it's over. They no longer need to be back. We know that there's mostly peace now on Azeroth. We've defeated all of the big bad enemies in the universe. So what exactly are the aspects coming back for? Was it just a case of, there's too many problems in the world, we're just going to neglect our duties and sort of chill and you Monsters can take care of it. Now that there's peace, we're like, oh, we want the power back, we want to be special again. And I think that's it. It could be, right? It could be a little bit of a gaffe, if you will. But let me know in that comment section down below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed the speculation, remember to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, let me know. If you didn't, hit the dislike button and we never speak of this again. You can be very cool by becoming a supporter over on Twitch, YouTube, or of course Patreon. Any and all support is always very much appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, and I will see all of you in the next one. Peace out, fam.